Welcome to an episode of Crippled by Culture, where we talk about everything in life and related to the disabled and chronically ill community. My name is Sean Gold. I am an author, advocate, and nonverbal public speaker for the disability community. To give a quick description of my for accessibility, I am a black man with a white tracheostomy breathing tube in my neck. The person off camera is who you are hearing speaking for me. This video is of a Zoom call with me and the person talking for me off camera, and my guest is in the other box next to it. Before we jump in, just want to give a quick shout out to Josh Rettig for being my voice transcriber for this episode. Thank you very much. No problem. Today we're talking about the intersections of disability and youth queer acceptance, and I'm very excited for this one. So let's get into it. Meet today's awesome guest. Jeff Bender is the founder of Lion+Owl, an inclusive children's apparel brand designed to help kids feel comfortable, confident, and brave. He's also an author and speaker, using my work to advocate for safe and welcoming spaces for LGBTQ plus youth and their families. Through fashion, writing, and community outreach, he blends creativity with purpose to inspire change and foster acceptance. The most important job he has is being an open and supportive father. Jeff, thanks for being here today. How are you doing? And would you mind giving a description of yourself, please?
Sure. Thanks for having me. Um, I'm looking forward to this. A description of me and of what I look like. Is that what I need to do?
Yeah, the physical.
Okay. I'm wearing a green Lion+Owl golf shirt and a hat, baseball hat that says outdoors is for everyone. And I am sitting in my home office.
I appreciate that. Um, First question, do you identify with having a disability or chronic illness? And if so, do you mind sharing what it is?
I do not. Um, I do not have one.
That you don't identify as disabled or have a chronic illness, are you involved or connected with the disabled community in your personal or professional lives?
In my professional lives, I work with neurodivergent and special needs kids.
What made you consider working with people like that, with the disability community?
I started a clothing company that was based on the needs of my transgender daughter. And through that process, um, we came to understand that uh, clothes were far more important for, uh, you know, just not LGBTQ kids, but also neurodivergent, sensitivity, kids who, rely on their clothes to make them feel better and comfortable, which entails them to be more confident.
What do you think you've learned that stays with you on a daily basis from the disabled community or any specific disabled person?
They're by far and away underserved and not recognized by our um, government and the policies that they make the way that they should be. They are not supported in schools like they should be and in society in general. And so I feel that it's important for someone in my position to stand up and do what I can to protect the kids who tend to be forgotten.
Now your involvement in the queer community. As a father of a transgender daughter, how has your evolution changed over your thoughts on the trans community?
Well, I actually have an older daughter who identifies as gay, and then my younger daughter is transgender. So I have a part in a couple of the letters of LGBTQ plus, and I'm often asked about this as a father, and you know how I came to be in this position and how I support them. And really, the answer is pretty boring and basic. It's just that I love my kids and I want them to be the best version of themselves, and that happens with a supportive parent and a supportive adult in their life.
There is sometimes a stigma of labeling trans people as mentally ill. What do you think about this first as an
Uh,
insult towards the community, but also
yeah,
society? Yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead.
that's no, go. I mean, that's utterly ridiculous. That's as bluntly as I can put it. Like that is these kids are being their true selves. Um, in fact, studies have been shown that transgender kids mature and make better decisions than cisgender kids their same age. And they know exactly who they are. And it's up to us as parents and as educators, as mentors, to voice and make sure that the people who are unsure of this understand that this is not a mental illness. This isn't a phase or a fad. This is who they are, and it's up to us to support them.
What inspired you to use fashion as a advocacy tool?
So that started off, the whole idea of creating an apparel company for kids, and also writing 2 books. It came from seeing that my own 2 kids were having difficulty finding the clothes in big box retailers that made them feel their most comfortable. And I noticed that their choices were lacking. And so I wanted to try my best to come up with some clothes and some apparel that kids could wear that are universally fit, gender free. You just pick the color and style that you like. If we can eliminate some of those choices that these kids have to make each day, and we let them go about their business as confident as they can be, they can conquer the world, they can do what they want. Better confidence leads to better friendships, better school, better grades, better sports, better teammate, and overall just a better person. And right now, we are really lacking the better person avenue in society right now. And so, um, clothes shouldn't be what stands in the way of being a good person.
What kind of feedback have you gotten on your clothing company so far?
People tend to be uncomfortable with things that they don't understand or that it's not part of their everyday life. And what we say to those people that when we get negative feedback is that we're just helping all kids feel confident, comfortable, and brave. And if you have something that is inside you that makes you feel like this isn't something we should be doing, then you need to look really hard on the inside and figure out why it is that you don't want kids to feel comfortable, confident, and brave. Because in reality, in the basis of all of this is that apparel has no gender. we associate that, we associate gender with our apparel. Why? It's just clothes. They're just clothes. It's how we represent ourselves. It's how we represent and show ourselves to the world. And so, to those people that we've gotten that negative feedback, you know what? Fine. Uh, but we've had far more positive feedback than any kind of negative.
Well, I'd say I will definitely buy some shirts and hats.
Thank you.
What advice would you give to yourself before your daughter had come out to you? And is there anything you wish you could have done or said differently at the time?
No, my wife and I, we, we're good people. I mean, that's really what it comes down to it. We're just good people. We want what's best for everyone, and we want everyone to be happy. It really comes down to very, very basic things in that we take care of our friends and family, and we take care of our community. We've always been accepting. We've always been open with our kids and honest with our kids. And so I wouldn't have, there's nothing that, as parents that we would have changed in the journey that we've been on, because I'm really proud of the way that my wife and I and our family has really approached this whole idea and really stood up and voiced and made it well known that, we have to do more to protect our trans kids.
How do you guys decide on the designs for your products?
So, the name of the company, Lion+Owl, it's actually based on my two kids, and those are their I don't know, we could say their spirit animal. Our oldest is a lion, and her name means courageous. She had lots of blonde hair when she was born and looked like a lion, and so we adopted that kind of animal for her, and we like filled her room up with stuffed lions. And then our youngest was born with these really big, huge eyes that someone had mentioned. It looks like she's looking through your soul like an owl would. And so we started collecting owls and putting those in their rooms. And then when it came time to create this company, what better way to name it after my kids, Lion and Owl? And so that's the name. And then the designs, that's quite the process. We worked on the designs and the testing for almost 2 years, making sure that the patterns worked, that the fit worked, that the pockets were deep enough, that the waistband wasn't itchy. And then we tested it. We did rounds and rounds of testing and making sure that everything that, the kids were asking for and that parents were asking for, we found a way to put it into the clothes. And I like to say that everything that we've designed serves a purpose. We have no fluff in our apparel. Even the patterns, the shapes, the way that the clothes lay on the body, where patterns fall, all of it serves a purpose. And so I don't know of any other apparel company that put so much time and effort into making sure that the clothes that we actually create and put out for kids serves the purpose as well as ours do.
Have you had any kind of backlash from people in regards to how young your daughter transitioned, and how have you dealt with that while trying to protect and support her?
Right. Well, the last couple of years have been a little bit, well, have been a little bit more difficult in terms of society's view and what kind of noise our media puts out there to make sure that they do what they can to divide us. We work really hard at creating a community that supports us and that we support them. And so I rarely run into any type of negative feedback anymore, because we've done a really good job at making sure that, we spend our time with people who support us. And people who don't support us, they're not part of our journey, they're not part of our lives, and they're not part of Lion and Owl. And so They're out there, and we just try to do what we can in our own personal space to make the world that in which we live in better and more accepting. We're always open to conversations if people have questions, and I'm always willing to teach someone and learn something from someone else. But when it comes to trans rights, to LGBTQ rights, to minority rights, it's a black and white issue there. Everyone deserves a chance to live the life that they want to live and to be happy and healthy.
What do you say to other supportive parents going through similar situations, like their kids' sexuality at a young age, if not gender?
Love,
Hmm.
just love your kids, be kind. They're not doing this for attention. This is who they are. Let your kids find themselves. You can help them steer, but they're ultimately going to get to their point where they figure out who they are. And it's up to you to make sure that while they are finding their path, you are there to support them. The number one job for a parent is to just love your kid, no matter what. And so, whether they, are transgender, or if they're autistic, or if they have a disability, you don't love them any different. You love them the same, and you always want what's best.
Do you have events or do anything with local schools through the company?
We're trying. We're really trying to reach out. We've run into not any kind of issues. It's just it's hard. It's been difficult for me to get a response, to be honest. I've sent lots of emails. We've sent packages out. We would love to help schools with fundraising. We'd love to help. We have some really amazing products that can be embroidered with school logos, and it would just be such an amazing thing for a school who prides themselves in being inclusive and accepting for their kids to support a local inclusive accepting apparel company. But we just haven't been able to open those kind of doors yet. But man, am I trying. And I try and I try. So if anyone's listening out for this podcast, if you know someone, elementary school kids, send them my way, because we would love to create some sort of fundraiser.
It can be pretty hard to get in touch with schools. I've been trying for 5 books and it's been very silent.
Yeah, very silent. I mean, multiple emails. Someone just told me that you just have to be really persistent and turn yourself into a pest and just keep bothering them and bothering them and bothering them. I work with a global manufacturer here in St. Louis, and recently we had a meeting, and the CEO of the company told me the story of this gentleman who owned a warehouse in India, who would email him every week. And 2 years, this gentleman would email him every single week. And finally, after 2 years, they finally had a meeting, and it ended up being, now a year later, one of the biggest warehouse customers they've ever had in their journey. So be persistent, be a pest. Don't ever give up. So I keep emailing, I keep sending boxes out. Sooner, I'm hoping sooner than later, someone will respond and help us, move some product.
Um, how do you feel about schools and governments demanding that schools ban age appropriate queer education?
Books do not make kids gay. Um, Reading about two moms or two dads is not going to make your kid gay. Um, it's ridiculous. It, I mean, that's as honest as I can state it. just absolutely ridiculous. You know, we really should be worrying more about how we educate our kids better than what we pull from our school libraries.
Mm.
I so
Yeah, personally, I think kids should learn that families can look different. Two moms, two dads, guardians, singles, but maybe the specific LGBTQ plus terminology is better introduced around middle school, unless kids ask. How do you approach age appropriate queer education with families?
you know, it's so in my opinion and in my personal journey, and remember, like everyone's journey is different, everyone's family is different, everyone's story is going to be different, and we can only teach and tell our own personal journey. And so through our family, you're never it's never too early to ultimately teach your kids to just be good people. And being a good person means that you are open to talking to all people. You can't isolate yourselves, you can't isolate your kids. You know, the faster we come to the realization that being kind goes a lot further than being hateful. Hopefully, we can start making a turn to being uh, the community that we all hope and wish we could be.
I knew I liked boys from a young age, as early as kindergarten, but I didn't need to know the terms and didn't ask. How do you think that we should support kids who are feeling or exploring their identity on their own terms without rushing into labels?
I think our younger generation is actually doing quite a really good job at this. And the importance they put on sexual orientation, um, the importance that they put on being non-binary or pronouns is it's not even an issue to them mostly. It's really inspiring. The people that we tend to have the most problems with are older people because it's just so new to them. Our younger generation, our younger kids, they're far more accepting than we could ever be, older generations. And I always like to tell a story when I'm talking to groups, and parents and grandparents, of an interaction that I had with my own daughter a couple years ago. I remember her asking, when you're on the playground, does the fact that you're transgender ever come up in conversation? And she said, yeah, every once in a while, maybe. You know, I say something to someone, or someone may ask a question. And me, as an adult, an older adult, who this is still kind of new, I ask, well, how do they react? So, because that's a big deal. And she looked at me like I was the biggest idiot. And she just looked at me and said, they just say okay and we go play. That is exactly how our younger generation looks at it. Like they don't care. The only ones that care are their parents for some reason. So, um, you know, finding oneself is is part of growing up. I mean, when did you just, you didn't make a choice to be straight. You just were.
Yeah,
So, same thing.
yeah, I love that they just don't really seem to care all that much. Hold on a sec.
Again?
Sorry about that. As a parent of a queer child, what scares you personally about the future?
Everything. I'm I'm extremely afraid of the world that my daughter is growing up in. And we can protect her here in our bubble, but I'm super scared. As a parent, you worry. Every parent worries about their kid growing up. You worry about friends. You worry about them finding someone to spend their life with. You worry about them finding a job. You worry about them going to the playground. All of these things, we all worry about that kind of stuff. But having a transgender child kind of expands that a little bit. And so I worry about those things. I worry about relationships. I worry about what kind of jobs and how they're treated at their job being transgender. I worry about their healthcare being completely taken away from. We don't have healthcare here in Missouri, so we have to go to Illinois. And, you know, I worry that if we continue down this horrible, horrible path of Republican rule, you know, don't think that they're going to stop at transgender people. They're going to start going after more and more. So I worry about that all the time.
You've published 2 books so far. Oh, I Just Didn't Know, and Apparel Has No Gender. Tell me about these books and why you wrote them.
Yeah. So when I started the apparel company, someone had mentioned to me that maybe I should write a book and use it for marketing. And so I was introduced to a dear friend of mine, Jolena, and she helped me kind of put my ideas out on paper. And she was the one that actually said, I think that you have a real story to tell. And I don't think that you should use this for marketing. I actually think you should write a real book. And while you're at it, I think you should write 2 at the same time. And so Jolene and I worked together at writing 2 books together. And the first book, Oh, I Just Didn't Know, is life lessons that grandparents and grandkids can share together. It talks about the importance of being trustworthy and honest, learning from our past, being open to new people and new things, new technology. And it's a book that we really want our grandparents to sit down and with their grandkids and talk. And there are questions. There are parts of the book in the back in which, we ask questions for them to have real open dialogue with each other, to talk about what's important, to share stories about growing up as kids and how it relates to our kids now. And so I'm really proud of it. And the title of the book, Oh, I Just Didn't Know, was based on my mom's famous lines after asking those tough questions about our kids is, okay, don't get mad. I just didn't know. And so what better way to title a book than Oh, I Just Didn't Know? The second book I wrote, Apparel Has No Gender, uh, the name stuck because it was going to be a marketing tool. So we just kept Apparel Has No Gender. And that's just a commentary book about raising a transgender daughter. It's really a great piece of material for people who have questions, who want to learn more, who want to be an ally and supportive. It's very easy to read with basic terms, and then personal stories detailing our lives as parents raising a transgender daughter. And NPR St. Louis named it one of the year's best books, which was an incredible honor to be named by local librarians, which is really cool. Like public St. Louis public librarians named it that. So that was amazing. And I ended up going on a really cool book tour around the country, speaking to community centers for parents and grandparents who are allies, or parents of LGBTQ kids. And so it's been an incredible journey, an incredible honor to have written these 2 books. And currently I am working on a third. Um, so hopefully I'll have some good news about this third book that I can come back on and talk to Sean about when it's ready to be released. So Sean will get the inside scoop, the exclusive.
Thank you. I've been seeing you get such well deserved and amazing recognition for all the work, and I appreciate all the work you've been doing and are still doing.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We've been lucky that we've gotten some good opportunities to be on TV, and we've had some really wonderful articles written about us. Our community here in St. Louis has been so supportive, and so we're truly grateful for that, and we're looking forward to the future and growing and getting our clothes and our story out to more families.
Uh, how much of your writing draws from your own parenting journey, and how much from listening to other families?
So the writing is really personal, and detailing what it's like raising an LGBTQ child, or what it's like raising an autistic, a disabled, neurodivergent, you name it. Those are those are all very personal journeys, and they're all going to be very different. And so my writing comes from a personal space. Now, those stories can cross over, and you can find, relatable instances with other families and other stories. And so it's important to share those together. But yeah, this is personal. Like, this is, I look at like writing a book like a 12-week therapy session. Um, rather than speaking to a therapist, you're writing all of these thoughts down on paper and figuring the meaning behind all of them. It's pretty incredible, and something that if you look back that I look back on, I never in a million years, and I still, it's crazy to think, like, to say it, but that I'm an author, it still sounds absolutely crazy to say that I am an author. And but I am, and I've sold books, and I've gone on tours, and people have paid for my travel. Like, that's pretty crazy. So,
What has made your writing therapeutic?
oh, just getting it out. I think we have so many, and not just me, we as human beings, we just have so many thoughts running through our minds all the time.
Mhm.
And I feel like the way the world's going right now, it's very disruptive. And I think it's hard sometimes to just concentrate on what's important, because there tends to be so much noise surrounding you. And so, whether it's a journal, a diary, or a great novel, I think that everyone can benefit from writing down their thoughts. And so I suggest that anyone out there listening, if you're thinking about doing it, start with a journal, start with notes at the end of the day, or gratitude in the morning, and see where it leads you. Um, it's worth it. And it takes very little effort to start.
What message do you have for queer kids and their parents to take away from your books?
Stay stay strong. Know that there are other families like yours out there. Know that there are other parents out there who also support their kids, that support your kids. Teach kindness, teach compassion, but at the same time, you got to teach your kids that the world sometimes isn't the best, that there aren't always nice people out there. And so you have to be sure to make a blend of those two things. And we've been, some may say we've been too brutally honest with our kids, but we're honest with ourselves in knowing how the world looks and works right now. And so we worry about that. And to the families who are out there that are struggling, who feel like they don't have a community, there is a community out there, whether it's PFLAG, um, they have places all over the country that you can do meetings and be involved in that kind of community. There are also community centers and that you can reach out to. And so, if you're struggling, if you feel all alone, you feel like you're on an island,
Mhm.
take that step and reach out.
Yeah.
Reach out to me. You can find me easy. I talk to parents all the time, even here in St. Louis. I think every other week I end up having coffee with a new mom or a new dad who, is struggling with this, you know, this new thing in their life. And so reach out, reach out.
Uh, do you see writing as another form of activism for you, similar to the apparel? Similar to
Absolutely.
the- No,
Yeah, right. Yes. I mean, you can words spoken can disappear, but words written on a page can't. They can ban them all they want and they can take them out of libraries. But my book is still going to exist no matter what. My book is still going to be available no matter what. And so, right, we need to share our stories. We need to share our struggles. We need to make uh, our path known. I think I go back to something I said earlier in the podcast. A lot of times hate comes from that area in which we don't know a whole lot about, or something that makes us feel uncomfortable. And so, the best way to learn about someone else is to read about their own stories. So yes, uh, the written word is a huge, huge tool for advocacy.
Do you think there's enough resources to help parents?
I do think that there's enough resources. What I am continually disappointed in is how few parents partake in that. And I wish there was more action from the parent side. There are lots and lots of places to go. There are lots of organizations who are here to help. And in my experience, a lot of times parents are uncomfortable going to the meetings or going online or attending a conversation or a topic. So, it's out there. And if you're listening, if you're a parent and it's new and if you're uneasy about it, or maybe you're embarrassed, maybe, you're scared, we need you to take that step out. We need you to find other people and other parents to help you and to share your story with, because again, it's just about getting our stories told enough times that people really start to listen.
Is there anything else you wanted to discuss or any questions for me?
Thank you. I just, thank you for the opportunity. It's been wonderful to get to know you, these last couple of years, and you're an amazing inspiration to so many people, and so, it's been an incredible honor just to be able to have this conversation with you, Sean.
Well, thank you so much for joining me. I really hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Big thanks to my guests for sharing their time and insights. Before we wrap up, if people want to connect with you or support what you do, where can they find you?
So you can stop by the website. It's lionandowl.us. You know, you can find all the apparel there. We have family merch for moms and dads and older kids, where we'd have hats and t-shirts and hoodies. So you can still support the All Kids Plus movement. You can support kids being comfortable, confident, and brave in your own Lion+Owl swag. You can find us on social media and TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and all those types of cool things. So, but really stop by the website, and check us out and see what we're all about.
Well, you can find all the links in the show notes and on YouTube in the description below the video. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment your thoughts, and subscribe. And make sure to hit the bell so you're notified when our videos go live. Be sure to follow the show, leave ratings or reviews, and share it with people who will appreciate the message. I will see you next time.
Want to listen to Crippled by Culture on your favorite podcast platform? Well, now you can. Crippled by Culture is now available wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search up the show title and make sure you subscribe. Thank you for being a listener.